आप्यायन्तु ममाङ्गानि वाक् प्राणश्चक्षु श्रोत्रमथो बलमेन्द्रियाणि च सर्वाणि सर्वं ब्रह्मोपनिषदं माहं ब्रह्म निराकुर्याम् मा ब्रह्म निराकरोत् अनिराकरणमस्तु अनिराकरणं मेस्तु तदात्मनि निरतेय उपनिषत्सु धर्मास्ते मयि सन्तु ते मयि सन्तु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Om. May all my limbs attain strength. May the body, mind, all the sensory and motor organs and the life force become powerful and perfect. All is verily the one without second, blissful, conscious existence, the Brahman. Let me never deny this truth of oneness. May this truth never reject me either. May the virtues described by scriptures necessary to realize this truth in life be with me. Om. Peace, peace, peace. Let us feel our true existence beyond the limits of form and corresponding name. Just like the animal crackers, beyond the names, the forms, the substance is one, unchanging, all-pervading. I am feeling this self like that, all-pervading. Beyond the idea of multiplicity, beyond the idea of space and time. There is no divide, no break in the bliss and peace. No bondage. I see. I am ever free. The bondage, pleasures and pains, life and death, are just illusions. Om. Peace, peace, peace. So, dear friends, let us begin this 36th class on this Upanishad. Very important, full of practical hints, practical messages to realize our true nature through meditation and through molding our lives. So, we are in the middle of the, not middle really, almost at the end of the fourth chapter, and today we plan to finish the fourth chapter. Today being the last available class before we break for this summer. So, we saw from the 17th verse we shall take up, but let us begin with our regular prayers. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishvavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May we be protected together. May we be nourished together. May we attain strength together. May our study make us illumined. May there be no dislike between us. Om, peace, peace, peace. So last Friday we stopped as the time was over while discussing this 17th verse. एष देवो विश्वकर्मा महात्मा सदा जनानां हृदये सन्निविष्टः हृदा मनीषा मनसाभिक्लुप्तो य एतद्विदुः अमृतास्ते भवन्ति. The divinity who created the universe and who pervades everything always dwells in the hearts of creatures being finitized by emotions, intellect, will and imagination. Those who realize this become immortal. This is a somewhat unorthodox interpretation of this verse, which is correct. The author, this is the book in which the author has given the other alternative meaning given by the commentators. Both these meanings are to be taken together, not that only one is right, the other is wrong. This is a very beautiful meaning here, that finitization. We are infinite, like the air or space is infinite, but when we say the space here is so much, then that these we show the walls, and because of these walls the space which is as such infinite appears to be finite. So these constructs of body, mind and so forth, they make our infinite, all-pervading, ever-free presence to be limited. And these limitations being kind of, they come and go, they are temporary. This, our so-called life also is caught in birth, growth, decay, disease, death and so forth. All these come to our life as it come to any limited thing, that say a house, so we can think of space in that house. But what happens when the house, which is subject to creation and destruction, so with that what happens to the space in that house? It is gone. Now it is that house is just that limitation imposed on space, but really not on space as such. The space still remains infinite. Our perception of it gets limited. That okay, the space in this house, as if the house has really restricted the space. It has not restricted the space. The space is still infinite. The boundaries or certain shapes that you have given to it is in your awareness. If you think of that it has become small, by that it has not become small. Our understanding of it has become small. It is in another Upanishad, it is said that we say that the sun is covered by the cloud. Now the sun is huge. How can it be covered by a small cloud? The sun is not covered by the cloud. Our sight is covered by the cloud, and therefore we think that the sun is covered by the cloud. The sun is not covered by the cloud. So also our understanding is this, that I am so and so, I am this body, I am this intellect, and so they are the limitations that put us so much so, I am so much. It is, Shankaracharya has discussed this a lot in many Upanishads, the commentaries and Bhagavad Gita commentary also, that it is like a jar. and then you think of the space in the jar. Now, before the jar came into existence, there was no space in the jar, and the jar breaks, the space in the jar also isn't there anymore. So, this self here, and the self there, and the self there, self in anything basically, we create then the categorization in that. This jar is good jar, that jar is not that good a jar, this jar is big, that jar is small. So we also create, these divisions according to our colored understanding. We say, well, this is a living being, this is a non-living creature, non-living thing. So everything is really as such living. If you go to the understanding at the depth, then there is no really any distinction between so-called living and non-living. But we create all those distinctions, and then if we want to eat some creatures for food, then we think that they are after all lower creatures. So no point, no harm in eating them. It is a division we create just to soothe our conscience. How do we say something is lower and something is higher? There is no such distinction at all. Same with the plants, same with what we call as inanimate. All are just pervaded, imbued with the same one conscious, free, blissful existence. That's it. So, these are the limitations, and so I consider this as different from that. Filled in one bottle, the water assumes the shape and size of that, say, bottle. Small bottle, big bottle, a drop of water, an ocean of water. Now, these are all the descriptions of the limitations of the concept of water. Water is free from all these. In our perceptions, therefore, I and the world, this and that, these limitations are the limitations on our understanding, not the limitations on the true nature of the divine. So, when we want to be free, and this is a common, everyone's desire to be free, right from the little child, and the little child also wants to be free. It is a common desire in all. Why? Because as our true nature, we are free. And so it is just trying to see what we are. We are actually free. It is only by holding on to this intellection, Rida, this limited awareness, Rida, Manisha, Manasa, Bhiklupto. So these are these different instruments that through which our awareness functions and takes those shapes. And then because of that we feel that we are very limited, we are only so much, actually we are infinite. So this is what is to be understood, and this is also therefore a way to be devoted to that reality, that reality pervades everything. And that is the other meaning of this verse comes there, that this infinite and true nature of ours, which is ever blissful, ever free, we realize it, we experience it by purification of this apparatus of perception, that is Rida, that it is our heart is to be purified, the intellect is to be purified, our emotional faculty needs to be purified. All this purification process. And what is purification process? Remove the dirt of desires from that. So, this purification process now enables us to see the truth as it is. So, Rida, Manisha, Manasa Bhiklupto. One commentator has given this Rida from the root meaning. Ri means to take away, to extract, to subtract. That is the meaning of Rida. So, it is that which subtracts all the karma, and thus this is the process described, that by that you become purified. All the names, forms, they get absorbed, removed there. Just try to see. This is the process that we always go through, the process of abstraction. And thus we create concepts through the process of abstraction. They like chair, and we have this chair, this chair, this chair. They are different chairs, but the concept of chair is something that includes all different chairs made of different materials, made of metal, made of plastic, made of some very precious metal, made of wood, this wood and that wood, made of plastic, so forth, that so many varieties of chair which are considered or taken together in this concept called chair. So it is a concept. So this art of unifying, in Upanishads you will find this process, that how one create a unit in which everything is kind of put together, like all chairs of thousands or millions of varieties are put together in this concept called chair. So, human being. Now, here is a human being, there Naomi is a human being, anybody, there are 7.3 billions, they say. So they are all human beings. In the concept of human being, all of them get included. Some are short, some are tall, some are thin, some are stout, some are, you say, with this skin color, some of that skin color. Some speak this language, some others speak that language, and so forth, you see. So, all of them come under this abstraction, human being. And this process of abstraction is very interesting. It leads us to higher and higher generalization. When we think of then after human beings, we think of all creatures. Then it becomes, yes, human being is a creature, a mosquito is a creature, a lice is a creature, a crocodile is a creature. All these, the elephants and whales, the big ones, they are creatures. All of them are creatures. There may be creatures on some other planets, they also are included in that. All of them are creatures, so they are included in that. All the different objects, they also, their common quality is looked into, they all exist, they are. So, when we go there, that becomes the highest generalization. All that exists. All that exists. So, existence includes all this. So, Now that is, there we see that oneness, that it is, yes, everything is that included in the existence. And that concept doesn't get destroyed. The individual forms, they change. It is like a cup. An individual cup gets destroyed, and they are, after all, those made of china, and they fall, break. Like Swami Vivekananda was consoling one of his attendants. When he was bringing tea, the cup fell from his hand and broke. And he was feeling the remorse. Oh, sorry, I broke the cup. Vivekananda said to him, look, all this universe comes and goes. Everything dies. And the cups and such things, this is the way they die. They don't die by getting plague, you see. So this is the way that they meet their destruction. So don't worry about it. It is like that the existence remains, the forms come and go. It is, and the forms do not limit the existence as such. It only limits our awareness of it. So, when we see this, our understanding broadens. That if I don't exist here, then I exist there. Swami Vivekananda said, well, how can I die as long as something is alive in the universe? I cannot die till then. Something is alive, that's it. I am living through that. I am breathing through that. That's it. There is no death for anybody as such. It is only the form, the limitation that comes and goes. It does not remove that. So, this is to be understood, that Hridha Manisha Manasa Bhikripto Etad Vidu Amritaste Bhavanti. And then what happens when this ignorance goes away? All the relative perceptions, they lose their force. Yada tamastanna divana ratri न सन्ना असत् शिव एव केवलः तदक्षरं तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं प्रज्ञा च तस्मात् प्रसृता पुराणी. When ignorance is dispelled, there is neither day nor night, neither being nor non-being. There is only that auspicious one who is imperishable and who is worthy of being adored by the Creator. From him has proceeded the ancient wisdom. So, it is this ignorance creates not only distinctions, but in these distinctions there are conflicts which delude us further, like good and evil. A very common misunderstanding about this, that there are two divisions, good and evil. God made good and God made evil. So there are two cut and dried compartments. Either I am good or I am evil. If I am good, and I am always good, that is the given, that I means good. Those other fellows, they are naturally, if they are with me or if they are against me, that means they must be bad. So it is, in America in the earlier wartime, this slogan was being given, that either you are with us means good, otherwise you are with the enemy, you are evil. So this is a very simplistic idea. We have always these relatives, that day and night. That is why in the Bible, in the right at the Genesis, it is shown that how the world, the God made the day and night are separated. Now, this is the product of this ignorance manifest as the duality. Before that, there is nothing. God alone existed. That God alone existed, and then in ignorance, now it gets divided. Day and the creation began, as it were. In the creation, now you have all the relatives, the day and the night, all separate things, one juxtaposed by its counterpart. It's like that. There is the left and there is the right. In politics also you have the left and the right. It is not that the right is always right, but it is, that is how we have our understanding. Those who are on the right, they consider we are right, so other must be wrong. Those who are on the left, they say that they are not right. They are right means they are actually wrong. Get the name? So it is all like that. Again, it changes according to convenience. That right becomes wrong, wrong becomes right. All that shifts, continuous shift is there. So this is when, for example, day and night. Here we all always think in terms of day, night, and it changes. It is today is the day, solstice, that the longest day in the year. So we have the longest day in the northern hemisphere, the shortest day in the southern hemisphere. So it is like that. It is where somewhere it is very bright, somewhere it is dark. And day and night come because of the earth's revolution. Earth revolves around itself. So its face to the sun means day, its face opposite to the sun means it is night. So it goes on in that revolution, and then when it makes the round of the sun while rotating around itself, it is also rotating around the sun. When it makes one rotation around the sun, it is, so we call it 1 year. So 365 point something times the earth's rotation around itself makes a year. It moves around the sun during that time. Now all this is on earth. On moon, the day and night will be different again. And suppose you go to sun, just imagine. Will there be day and night? Just imagine. That is only relative to earth we have day and night. Sun will not have day and night. It is, how will it have day and night? So similarly, when this awareness dawns, all these distinctions, all these opposites, they just dissolve. There is no such opposites. The opposites are for play, what is called Leela. In the play, you have all the opposites, the conflicts and all that. Like I tell that incident, one of our devotees, most of you have met her sometimes or other, she wanted to write a play on Ganesha. She is a playwright, so she wanted to write a play on Ganesha. And then I said, good, you read this And then she came with a somewhat dejected face. I cannot write a play on Ganesha because in this life, that in the stories that you gave me, there is no conflict in the life of Ganesha. And without conflict, there is no play cannot be written, There has to be conflict. And a story generates with that conflict. And then there is the war, and then competitions and all that. Then the play becomes interesting. Without conflict, how can there be an interesting play? So she gave up the idea and then wrote play on some story in Ramayana and so forth. So where there were some conflicts, that Rama and then Ravana, come on, there is something to have conflict. So all these conflicts, they just melt away, they just dissolve when you have this spiritual awakening. So it is at that time, this is said because of the weakness of our language. Let us remember this. The weakness of our language is to be understood here. It is always kind of not very expressive. We cannot express most of the things in words. Most common emotions also cannot be expressed in words, and therefore you always see it is. I was very much intrigued by this expression, and which is very, very common in American lingo. I have not heard it anywhere being used so frequently. Here, when I came first to America, it was very much noticed. Now I became part of it, I too use it like that. But you can see after half a sentence, people say, what I mean. Oh, well, why don't you tell what you mean rather than first telling something else? It is what I mean, or it is. You know what I mean? Well, it is, if you have said something, that should mean it, but no, you don't mean that, because the words have some problem. Why it has become more common in America? Because people from various different countries, especially the European countries, they have come and they have picked up English in their own way, according to they like Spanish, Italians, Germans, so French. So their languages also have similar words with somewhat different connotations and different usages. So when they use that word, they are not sure if I am conveying the right idea. So you understand what I mean? It is, yeah, you get it? It is, they want confirmation. That is one of the possible reasons why it is so much used in America, because it is kind of a melting pot, as they say. So many different people of different races, different linguistic groups, and different cultural backgrounds have come here, and they interact with each other, so they have to use something like that. So, you know what I mean. So, it is the poverty of language that it is, we cannot really express it, that what it is. So, that poverty is tremendously felt when we have to say something about that ultimate reality. So, when one realizes it, that is how, when ignorance is dispelled. Remember, when ignorance is dispelled, the concept of time also is gone. And thus the word when does not have the conventional meaning that when you are going to meet me, okay, 10:30 a.m. tomorrow. That is not the way that the word when is used here. It refers to that state, not to a particular time as such. The state. Again, state is a word, cannot really describe exactly what is meant there. The ignorance is dispelled, and all our actions, all our mental actions, all our understanding that is based in ignorance, it is based on this idea. The basis of our ignorant life is this division between I and world, which Shankaracharya in a super brilliant short essay titled as Superimposition, which is like the prologue to his commentary on the Brahma Sutras. So it begins with this, that this is the state of ignorance where our whole life is based on taking this division for granted. I, world, I, you, Yushmad Asmat Pratyaya Gocharayoho. It is what is the self? This body is called I. It is you actually, not I. It is part of this world. It is seen and not the seer. So, our understanding is based on this mistaken notion. Why I call it understanding? It is basically misunderstanding that passes for understanding. It is because the very basis is wrong, and you can test that how wrong it is. Do you see it, Setu? You can easily see that this basis is wrong. Do you see it, Subhashish, that this basis is wrong? Because you cannot really fix the boundaries where I end and the world begins. Impossible. So this basis itself is false. This is in ignorance. Gone means this basis is gone. And so all our life is now led with a different, completely different understanding of the truth. Imagine what kind of life will that be? The life of illumination, a life not this put into this bondage. The life of freedom, the life of bliss, the life of eternal peace, not dependent on the outer situations. It is wrong to think that I will go to a place which is very peaceful. There is no place that is peaceful. It is going beyond ignorance that is the peaceful place. Otherwise, there is always I and mine, I and mine, I and mine, I and this world, I and this world. Where is the peace? So, it is, we have to get rid of these pieces to get peace. So, in that state, this ignorance is dispelled, all duality is gone. Swami Vivekananda calls it dual throng. What, Naomi, you don't seem to agree with this? Huh? You are agreeing or not? You are agreeing. Okay, great. Yeah. It is, I saw on your face. So maybe you are not. Okay. There is that auspicious one alone. What is auspicious? Because there is the real auspiciousness. That alone is that awareness of this Supreme One. Friends, that is auspiciousness. When held on to it, the life becomes auspicious, free from any birth, growth, death, pleasures, pains, the expectations and all that, you see, elations, depressions are all gone. This is the state. So, this state is where you have that real peace. So, this is the auspiciousness, imperishable, and who is worthy of being adored by the Creator. So, that is what is adored by Creator. We should therefore worship that. Means try to meditate and hold on to that. That is the essence of all worship, meditations, and all for the spiritual practices are just trying to hold on to this one universal, unchanging, true being. So, and all the ancient wisdom is springing from that. The wisdom that the Upanishads and all these, the wisdom springs from that. What it means is that if you thus follow the wisdom, you will reach that. It is like so many roads have come from, say, Kennedy Plaza here downtown Kennedy Plaza. Do you know Kennedy Plaza, Vishwanath? You know Kennedy Plaza. So all those roads have say come from there. So if you follow those roads, you will get to Kennedy Plaza. So, all these roads, these paths, this knowledge, it has sprung out from that. But we are following it in the opposite direction. We are following those by adoring the creation. Instead of that, we have to learn to adore that Creator. So, change the direction, reverse the direction, and then we will get back to that auspicious one. Otherwise, it is all inauspicious. It is coming on the right path is auspicious, going on the wrong path is obviously not auspicious. So, this is the idea here. Now the next verse, while saying the same, Nainam urdhvam cha tiryang cha na madhye parijagrabhat, sorry, na madhye parijagbhramat, na tasya pratima asti yasya nama mahad yashah. No one can grasp him above or across or in the middle. There is none equal to him whose name is great glory. A very poetic expression here that there is, how can you catch that? Many say that how can I see God? Have you seen God? What does it mean? If God is seen by these eyes, then it is no God. It becomes limited. The God, like Meister Eckhart mentioned, that you cannot see God by these eyes. You can see God, but with what eyes? With the eyes that God sees you with. You have to take those eyes. Thus you can see then God. So this is not possible to see God by the different instruments above, where it is above or below. Where it is, tell me. There is that story of Prahlad, a very illustrative story, that his father, the story has many, many poetic, and very spiritually very beneficial illustrations and analogies, that this little child was tremendously devoted to God, but the father was terribly against God. And he tried to instruct this little child that no, there is no God other than me. I am the ruler of all the three worlds. So you should pay obeisance. Everybody must pay obeisance to me. And this, his own child, was not following that. He was praying, Lord Vishnu, O Vishnu, O Vishnu, O Narayana, and all that, and was also telling others to do that. So therefore he decided to finally kill this fellow. But after many, many attempts to kill, could not kill. So then he confronted the child with a big weapon, something in his hand. Come on, you are constantly saying, Lord, Lord, oh Vishnu, Vishnu, where is your Vishnu? Come on, show me. Is it above? Is it below? Is it here? Where is he? If I cannot kill you, let me go and kill that fellow himself. Tell me, show me where is he is. Where is God? And then what can this little child say? He is seeing God everywhere. So he said, well, he is everywhere. That which is in one place and not in other place, you can show that it is here and not there. Like our Charlie is here, and so he is not on the Westminster Street. So it is, where is Charlie? Hey, here it is Charlie. It is, so you can show it in that way. Something that is at one place, but it is limited to that place, then you can show, otherwise you cannot show. So he said everywhere. Then this his father Hiranyakashipu, what? Everywhere? Do you mean to say it is in this pillar? Well, everywhere means obviously in the pillar as well. Okay, if you want to say in the pillar, you can. And so he struck the pillar, and a very ferocious form of God rose from that pillar, and just killed this. That I don't want to get into the story. What I mean is that it is everywhere. So how can you show? How can you point out above, below, under the water, or what? It is not possible to point it out or to grasp like that. There is none equal to that. That is supreme. And therefore the word pratima has this meaning also, that it cannot have an analogy to describe it. That which is analogous to something else, you can describe. It is, if you do not, you are trying to explain some creature who has never seen, say, what is a bison. So if somebody has not seen a bison, and then they say, well, it is like a big cow, much bigger than a normal cow you see, and very ferocious and very powerful. So by that you can give some idea of a bison. But what is exactly like God? Can you give an idea that God, okay, it is like this creature? No, therefore, no analogy of God, no particular form of God. So, therefore, our teaching methods are mostly analogies. You start from what the student knows and then build on that by that showing the analogies. That okay, additions, yes. So multiplication, is simple. Just adding things repeatedly, that makes it multiplication. So by expanding on the already existing knowledge base, you teach the next things. So here there is no such thing that you can show as analogy, and it is therefore you cannot describe, it is to be realized. There is no particular correct description of God. So, this verse, न सन्दृशे तिष्ठति रूपमस्य न चक्षुषा पश्यति कश्चनैनं हृदा हृदिस्थं मनसा य एनं विदु अमृतास्ते भवन्ति. So, his form does not stand with the range of the senses. No one perceives him with the eye. Those who know him through the faculty of intuition, as thus seated in their heart, become immortal. This is how one can perceive that, not by these senses. It is, and therefore cannot be described. That you have to go deep in your awareness, and every pulsation of awareness has that involved in it. It is in each each of our consciousness that God is, that alone is. How can you show it as a particularized something? But you can realize it by the process of removing all the particulars. So, that is the process, and thus, when you know this, this Jitendra may say, what is the benefit I will get? You have to know calculation. How much benefit I will get from it? How much does it cost? And what are the returns? Let me weigh it, and if it works, then I will get it. And this knowledge, if I get it, what is the benefit I get out of it? It is why spend so much time in meditation and prayers and all that and get that knowledge? Okay, suppose I get it. This question gets asked very often. Suppose I get it. What will happen? What do I get out of it? Well, you become immortal. That is the benefit. You become happy. You become immortal. And that's the reward. What more do you want? So, it is, since there is no particular phrase to call it, अजात इत्येवं कश्चिद्भीरु प्रपद्यते हृद्रयत्ते दक्षिणं मुखं तेन मां पाहि नित्यं. That, oh Lord, a person hesitatingly calls you. Some, being afraid, approach thee, thinking that thou art the unborn. O Rudra, deign to protect me with that benevolent face of thine. The idea here is, since there is no name, people hesitatingly, with some fear that I am not saying the right way. Somebody I was talking to the other day asked me, well, Swami, what is the right way of addressing you? I am just saying hello and all that, but is there a proper way of addressing you? Well, I said anyway as such is okay, but yeah, if you want some proper way, you can use this. So it is there is no proper way as such. So some people hesitatingly and with fear say Ajat means unborn. You are never unborn, you are ever present. Born means earlier it wasn't there, and before, after that it won't be there, that is death. So, born, he is unborn, means ever existing. So, and show me the benevolent face. Rudra and Dakshinam Mukham, this contrast is interesting there. That Rudra means somewhat fearful. Yeah, but like bringing many calamities and difficulties in life, so the spiritual aspirant says, show me your benevolent face. Like, don't put too many obstacles in my path. Make my spiritual journey secure rather than fraught with many dangers. So that is the prayer. And then this prayer is expanded further with the relative life that one leads in this world. Manastoke tanaye, mana ayushi, mano goshu, mana ashveshu, ririshah, viran mano rudrabhamito, vadhihi, havishmantah, sadamitva havamahe. That all my things, please protect them. And they are listed that injure us not in respect of children. May my children never come to harm, my grandchildren and life, and nor in respect of cows and horses. Do not destroy our heroes in thy anger, O Rudra. We invoke thee always with offerings. So, this is the prayer that somebody is having this understanding, I and mine. Now, this is connecting that to the ultimate reality. So, please see that your benevolence is with all that. Means the knowledge gets scattered in all of them. Your auspicious face comes to us. So, this is how we complete the fourth chapter. We shall begin by the grace of the Divine, the fifth chapter when we meet in September again. The next class should be on September 13, Friday, September 13. So, any questions? Yes, Charlie?
When Sri Ramakrishna worshipped Mother Kali before he met Totapuri, did he think she was infinite?
Yes. Yes. Absolutely no doubt. Please read that description of his first vision of Mother Kali. It is not that he saw the image he was seeing every day, but he wanted to see the Divine Mother as she is. So the vision meant that he saw the big, infinite ocean of luminosity, as it were, Jyotish Samudra, and the ocean of luminosity and the waves of that ocean coming from all sides and drowning him, means his I-ness in that, and he just fell in the external sense unconscious and was experiencing the infinite bliss. So that was his first vision of the Divine Mother. Yeah.
So what was the difference when he met Totapuri?
Well, the difference is in the mode of practice. That is why, where is the difference in his different spiritual practices? The mode of practicing were different, and he arrived at the same one ultimate experience by each of these paths. He practiced all these paths because all millions and millions of spiritual aspirants would be going by different paths. And all these paths, if practiced, lead to the same goal. Remember, if practiced, if you just stand on the path and look here and there, then you won't reach anywhere. But if you traverse the path in the right way, you will reach the same destination. So, therefore, what Totapuri brought Sri Ramakrishna to, he had already realized the same truth by various other paths. Totapuri was unaware of the other paths. So he thought those other paths are not right or may not lead to the ultimate goal. But Sri Ramakrishna knew that they will lead to the ultimate goal. So this is how there isn't any difference from that, the destination. Yeah, the processes are different. Ah,
There's a question on the internet.
okay, read out.
So he's asking at the end of verse 4.22, which is that Manav Stoke Tanaya, this last verse,
Yeah.
he says that looks like a rather cheap prayer instead of the high ideals of Vedanta.
Ah, well, I don't say the cheap prayer, but what is there is, this is a spontaneous prayer that ensues from a person in ignorance, that therefore the high flight of Vedantic ideal, we have to be practical also. So the spontaneous prayer that comes to us is now shown, that protect all these mind things, do not get them the fury of your this your destructive face. Let your auspicious face be shown to them as well, your protective face. Now, what happens here is very interesting. When you understand that there is the divine who does all these things, who control all these things, now your attention goes to that, and then your prayers change the way the prayer is made. Gradually the prayer shifts to, well, you know what is best for them. Gradually one comes to this understanding that I do not really know what is good for this fellow or all my. In the beginning, the parents think that they know what is best for their children. And when the things come out differently, then they see, well, I did not know this. It is a big problem that is in the generations, that as the times change, the children's understanding changes. But now with this prayer, one thing is being affirmed, that, O Lord, you protect them, you know how to do that. This shift gradually comes. See, the journey is a gradual transformation. The ultimate wisdom comes then when we traverse this path. So it is not cheap as such. It is the beginning of the journey, and the meaning of these words change as one progresses. That is, illumine my understanding about my cows, my this, my that, it will change into thy cows, thy this, thou that. All is yours, nothing is mine. That is protecting them. Yeah. Yes. Faculty of intuition. Now, this is a word that one feels this, that is going beyond the senses. And so it is also going beyond our common intellect, which is a name for syllogism. So you go beyond that, and then you arrive at a conclusion which is not logically arrived or is not given by any sense organ. So that is intuition, that it is a sure short knowledge, but it is not coming to you through any of the sense organs or the combination of the inputs of the sense organs. That is the job of the intellect. Intellect connects the sensual experience and brings a projection. So, none of that. So, this is what is called intuition. For example, we all know I. Nobody has seen I. Nobody has heard it. Nobody has even intellectually derived that its presence. It is intuited. It is. So that is an example of intuition. No, no. Mind is part of that. It functions through the mind. It is like these light fixtures are not part of electricity. Electricity makes them light fixtures. So, similarly, the mind is not involved in intuition, but it is intuition that supports the mind. Mind's existence depends on intuition. Yeah. So let us conclude with the closing prayers. As you know, this was the last class before our summer break. This Sunday there will be the last service before we close. So, and after the Sunday service, there will be the annual general meeting also to discuss 2018, the year of 2018, what happened and different things. So please join in that also. And the summer programs will be informed. There is already the flyer is available. You can take it and come for the next program. In the after this Sunday will be the 4th July, the Independence Day celebration. So at 11 a.m. So try to come for that. We shall conclude with the closing prayers. ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ तत्सत् श्रीरामकृष्णार्पणमस्तु।